On this episode of the Red and Gold Report, we're going to be analyzing the Chiefs' surprising upset loss against the Colts. And as we look at the storyline of this game, one thing really stood out: the Chiefs' special teams. But not in a very special sort of way. To start the game, rookie Sky Moore muffed a punt, giving the Colts the ball back at the Chiefs' 4-yard line, which of course resulted in a Colts touchdown. The defense stopped the Colts yet again, but yet again, the special teams for the Chiefs failed on a punt, with confusion on the punt return allowing for this weird downing of the ball at the 1-yard line, which of course resulted in the Chiefs' next offensive drive being a 3-and-out. The defense stood up and stopped them yet again on a 4th-and-short, and this time after a long throw to Travis Kelce and a touchdown catch by, well, Travis Kelce, the Chiefs finally got a touchdown and got up on the board. But the special teams failed yet again, missing the ensuing extra point field goal. The Chiefs scored another touchdown and went ahead, meaning that somehow the Chiefs actually went into halftime up 14-10. But going into halftime, there was an ugly scene. The Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy decided to get into a very public argument with quarterback Patrick Mahomes. More on that later. The Chiefs offense started the third quarter with a long drive, but the drive stalled within the 5-yard line, and the Chiefs were forced to settle for 3. But then that's when it all fell apart. Towards the beginning of the fourth quarter, on 4th down at the Colts' 24-yard line, our special teams struck yet again. The Kansas City Chiefs coaching staff inexplicably called a fake kick, with punter Tommy Townsend, of course, passing it incomplete. Why you would trust the special teams, who had been struggling all afternoon with this trickery, I have no idea. On the very next offensive drive, well, the special teams struck yet again, missing a field goal. And at this point, well, the refs took it from there. The Chiefs defense had forced the Colts off the field to all but end the game in the Chiefs' favor when the refs called an unsportsmanlike penalty on Chris Jones. Now, everybody on the internet is already giving Jones a really hard time, even himself. But let me ask you this. When was the last time that you saw a referee throw a flag for what a player said, not what he did? Chris Jones didn't kick anybody, hit anybody. No, he just talked smack. When was the last time you saw a flag for that? About never, right? And not only was it rare, that decision by the refs, it changed the entire game. The game would have pretty much been over, and the Chiefs would have won. Because the Colts, well, they then drove down for a touchdown to go up 20-17. With only 24 seconds left, Mahomes got the ball to Kelce, and Kelce moved the team into nearly field goal territory. But with 8 seconds left, on a deflected Mahomes ball, well, it was intercepted, and that did indeed end the game in the Colts' favor. Yes, the special teams were the worst they've ever been in the Andy Reid era in a single game. But as we'll talk about in a few minutes, the offense was really off too. But I don't like to get too negative for too long about my Chiefs. I love my Chiefs. So actually, I want to start, when we're talking about who played well and who played poorly, I want to start with who played well on defense. And before we get to that, hey, like this video, subscribe to this channel to get the best Chiefs analysis on the interwebs. You know, even with the loss, the part of the game that was easily overlooked was the Chiefs' stellar defensive play. If you take away that first touchdown from the Colts, you know, that was really a special teams gaffe, wasn't it? I mean, the Colts got the ball on the 4-yard line. Of course, they were going to score a touchdown. So if you take that one away, if you take it away, the defense for the Chiefs only allowed one real touchdown in the day. That's great. The Chiefs defense also held the Colts to only 259 total yards of offense, only 3.8 yards per play. That's fantastic. And all-pro running back Jonathan Taylor, I mean, this guy was the best running back in the league last year. He averaged only 3.4 yards per carry. So great day for the Chiefs defense as a unit. And Spags, I give him some grief at times. Spags, he called a great game. He brought linebackers and safeties and line stunts to create a lot of pressure. I think he really is at his best when he's drawing up creative ways to get to the quarterback, and you saw that prime and center in this game. Nick Bolton played an excellent game. Coming from his middle linebacker spot, he showcased his pass rushing skills like never before, ending with 2 sacks. I mean, really, Bolton is known as a run stopper, but his pass rushing was great. It was great versus the Colts. He also had a key stop on a fourth down in the fourth quarter. Taylor was trying to jump over the line, and Bolton comes up and just pops him. That's a great running back. He's stopping him right at the line of scrimmage. It was a great play. And had the refs not thrown the flag on Chris Jones for verbally hurting Matt Ryan's feelings, well, we would probably be talking about how Nick Bolton won this game on that play for the Chiefs. I was also very, very impressed when Kalen Saunders, the backup defensive tackle. It was one of his most active days as a Kansas City Chiefs in his entire career. He had 2 quarterback hits and 8 tackles. Watching the tape, what I loved most was multiple times on run plays, he was able to jolt the offensive lineman and then scrape down the line, just down the line of scrimmage, tracking with the running back, eating up more blockers before making a tackle. I mean, it was really, really nice on a few of those plays. And at this point, I'd love to see what would happen if Saunders got the starting nod over Derek Noddy. Hey, also, Saunders even got to be fullback for a few plays on offense. Linebacker Darius Harris had a great game. He was filling in for the suspended Willie Gay, and Harris actually led the team in with 13 tackles, including a tackle for a loss. Corner Legarius Sneed had a fantastic game. He did it all. Like, he was just doing it all for the Chiefs. He had a sack and a forced fumble. He had pressures on the quarterback. He had an impressive open field tackles. He had a second quarter fumble recovery, and he played great in coverage. Defensive end Carlos Dunlop also had a pretty good game coming off the bench. So, you know what? Don't let this go unnoticed. I know that this loss was upsetting. I know this loss was unexpected, but the defense actually played a great, great game. But with that said, I got to get to the offense because it wasn't a great game for the offense, was it? And I know everybody's wondering, like, why? Why was the offense not doing so hot against the Colts? Well, there are two main reasons why the Chiefs' offense just never got clicking: the lack of a running game and a poor showing from the offensive line. And I know the team was 3 for 10 on third downs, but that's really a symptom, not the problem itself, because it was created by this lack of a running game and, well, the offensive line not playing particularly well. The running game was it was bad. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 7 carries for 0 yards. Yes, you heard that right. 7 carries, 0 yards. And overall, between McKinnon, Pacheco, and Clyde, the running backs for the Chiefs averaged only 1.7 yards per rush and only one single first down. Yeah, just one first down running the ball for the running backs. Actually, Mahomes led the team with just 26 yards rushing. The line never got the holes open, and Clyde was having a terrible time reading the defense as a running back, as a runner. He was better as a pass catcher. And with a non existent running game, the Colts were able to play a lot of cover for defense, dropping the safeties and preventing the Chiefs' deep passing game. The media are all going to, of course, throw shade at Patrick Mahomes and the receivers. And, I know Mahomes, he wasn't great. But the truth is that a passing game, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. If your starting running back is averaging 0 yards per carry, the defense, well, they get to focus entirely on stopping the pass. Why would they spend their time on the run at that point? And that's what the Colts did. If you can't run the ball, well, think of it like giving the defense an extra bonus defensive back just for fun on passing downs. Yeah, good luck throwing it. But here's the thing about Clyde. Clyde actually had another great game as a receiver, hauling in 39 yards to the air. He was terrible as a runner. He shouldn't have kept getting carries, but he was great as a receiver. So I keep waiting for the coaches to figure out that maybe he can take on more as a receiver and, let the other guys carry the ball instead. The second reason the offense didn't produce was that the offensive line had a night they had a night to forget. Nobody played particularly well up front, but starting left tackle Orlando Brown, he was the worst of the bunch. He gave up far too many pressures. And the thing that made it worse is that if you go back and you watch the tape again and you watch just him, he jumped off sides several times. Several times he was trying to get back and get his pass set going before the play even started. He was really lucky. He only got called for one false start since I think he could have been flagged 5 times for it. Yeah, I don't know what the rest were doing. I'm thankful for it, but yeah, he could have been called for a false start over and over and over again because he knew he was just so slow against the Colts pass rushers that he was trying to get back there early. He also just plain whiffed at the end of the fourth quarter to create an easy tackle for a loss on a run play. Mahomes was great escaping, as he always does, from the pressure, but the one sack that was given up by the Chiefs was by Orlando in the second quarter, and then Orlando Brown came back on the very next play and allowed an unbelievably quick pressure again. They were picking on this guy. Brown's play so far this season hasn't just been average, it's been really bad. And it's created a real problem on the offensive line that has at times been crippling for this offense. So with no running game to speak of, and a struggling offensive line, of course the offense didn't get going. But also not helping, not helping was offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. Bieniemy and Mahomes, of course, got into this argument heading into the locker room at halftime. Now, I want to tell you, do not listen to the press conferences. They're never going to actually tell you what transpired in that conversation, in that argument. They're just not going to. It's not how things are done in the NFL. But from the film, to me, it looked like Eric Bieniemy could not stop running his mouth. Like he could not control his emotions and he decided to take it out on Mahomes. That's really unhelpful for the team. But also, this is playing right into the national media narrative that no one could get along with the enemy that was so prevalent last offseason. I mean, he might be just one more of these public arguments away from his hopes of ever getting a head coaching job just dashed. There's no reason for it, and he's got to stop it. But past the argument, well, Bieniemy didn't call a good game. He didn't. And he just plain is not using his personnel at running back correctly. It's infuriating to see Pacheco as the only one who's effectively running the ball, and yet he's not getting the most carries or the second most carries. It's driving me insane, Bieniemy. And you know what? Bieniemy, you gotta help a struggling left tackle. You got to get him chips with running backs and tight ends. You just can't leave a bad left tackle out there to block pass rushers off the edge alone. Really, the lone bright spot on offense was at wide receiver with Juju Smith-Schuster. He had his best day as a Kansas City Chief so far, leading the team with 5 catches for 89 yards of receiving. He also had a key fourth quarter catch for 53 yards, even though it was thrown behind him and he had to reach back. It was a really nice play. So all in all, how were the Chiefs upset by the Colts? Well, an exceptionally bad day from special teams, like we've never seen before, paired with a bad day for the Chiefs offense, and a little help from the old referees appears to have done the trick. But what do you think? Do you think Chris Jones should have gotten that penalty? What do you think happened to our offense? What do you think some of the coaching decisions were? Do you think they were good or bad? Make sure to leave me your comments in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching the Red and Gold Report, and go Chiefs.